And we are live. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 3 of Echoes of Zen. I have a new player here, Mr. Nicholas. If you'd like to make a quick introduction for yourself.
All right. Hey, I'm Nick, and I am going to be playing the resident cleric, hopefully keeping everybody alive.
Awesome. And we have Thomas and Sam back for us. Got a couple of players missing tonight. Hopefully they'll be back with us soon. So with that, we will get rolling right back where we left off. Dawn has found the colony of Sarah's bounty. A few less colonists than it had the night previous. The gates are all barred in the walled part of the colony. Where vigil stands over several corpses being put to the pyre. This is where those of a more religious bent will find themselves at use here, as the now defunct colonial leader Aluvar Strauss has been speaking to the soldiers and the party about the previous night's event and what that means, as well as still the unsolved mystery of what exactly happened to your predecessors and why they are not here. So we will come in on one of the pyres where stands an odd fellow, easily standing out of the crowd as a tiefling, whispering prayers over half dozen pyres going in the center of town here. Haru, this catches your attention. The Dragonborn and the Tiefling having a checkered history. Ancient history has seen several wars held back and forth among your people and his. How does this catch you?
Catch me? Well, I guess Haru himself is willing to give most people a fair shake, but he's going to definitely keep his eye on this guy and not expose his back to him. He can help it.
Okay. And Galvin, you've been kind of quiet most of the night after the previous attack, preferring to find yourself back in the comfort of the pages of your books. Where do you find yourself this morning?
Where am I? Probably in one of the nearby buildings.
Okay. So Haru, you've been looking for Galvin all morning. You find yourself separated from the remainder of your party. You're not sure exactly where Lyle is at all. You haven't seen hide nor hair of him since Freeport. Also, Laurelin seems to be nowhere within sight.
That's his biggest concern right now.
So I see you kind of just darting back and forth along the area.
He's not,
trying to locate.
but he is walking, like doubling over the entire colony area, keeping his eye out and looking, trying to spot any of his associates.
And in doing so, you see Galvin walking towards one of the what appears to be the nicer homes within this walled area. You see him approach the building and enter it. It being the first one that you've seen of your group so far. Would you like to walk up to him, or what would you like to do from here?
Well, yeah, Haru is going to go up to the building, open the door, and pause for a moment to see if anyone protests his entry before letting himself in.
There's nobody there. The house stands empty. Beside the door is a crest and a name carved in pretty nice script. Just the name Barkley.
Huh.
You remember your speech is with the lady back in I'm on Pilor, Montlore. I can't even remember my own names. And Barkley rings a bell as the original leader of the colony, under direct command of the Freebooters League. It seems that you found his house. Well, it seems like Galvin has found his house.
And he has a library.
He does have a library, which is most likely why you found yourself here. So entering in, the house is unlit. The sun has not really peeked into the windows yet, so inside is still kind of dark and a little chilly from earlier in the morning.
Other than the light from my staff.
Yeah, he doesn't have dark vision.
You will see the slight glow coming from around one of the corners of the rooms. Ascertaining this is where your friend would be. This is where you would approach.
No one's insisting that Haru doesn't enter the house. He's going to stride in, head around the corner, and when he sees Galvin probably standing there holding his staff and like paging through a book, he's going to tap him on the shoulder and say, "Galvin, is this where you're planning on being for a while yet?"
No, I'm just seeing what books lay about in this area.
Fair enough. I don't intend to stifle your desire to read. However, I'd like to know if this is where I can count on you being while I do my rounds and find out what the next order of business is, because I may need your help.
I'll be here.
Very good.
As you two are talking, Galvin, you're perusing through a bookshelf filled with several volumes, a treatise on the Republic, and various other navigational manuals. You notice behind a set of books, kind of an indentation in the back of the bookshelf itself. Moving the books, you would see a leather-bound book wrapped in cord. You would remember you would remember this symbol as an arcane symbol of binding. It seems that you've run across some sort of spellbook.
Okay. I'm going to research this. Find out what it is. Should I roll for Arcana?
Yes, absolutely.
Natural 20
Oh, awesome.
and +5.
Yeah, you immediately recognize this as a lower form of binding. It's really
Oh, wait.
I apologize. It's really a lower form of binding that's easily dispelled by anybody that would know their way around the arcane. One of the first pages you see is a familiar cantrip called Arcane Mark. And about 25 or so pages of arcane script that you're going to have to spend some time deciphering. Whoever wrote this was a fairly practiced magic user, and you might find some use out of this in the near future.
Okay.
Now, Beacon, you find yourself by the same token as Haru found you, a little curious. You find yourself also drawn to him, noticing it. He's the only dragonborn probably anywhere within 1,000 leagues. Following off towards one of the abandoned buildings with a human, you can't help but let your curiosity bring you along. You walk in as they're talking amongst themselves. How would you approach them?
Very calmly. Just slowly walk in and say, "Excuse me, you do not look like you are from here."
Okay.
None of us are. I'm a little surprised, of course. Someone walked in on me.
Haru turns his head around and noticing it's the tiefling. He's going to shift himself around and just casually clench his fist.
I mean you no ill will, only hoping that you may be here for a similar reason as myself and helping with the plight of the people here.
Plight of the people, I suppose, are at least one of my concerns. I'm more interested in solving the mystery as to where the original colonists went to.
That is indeed a mystery. I can't say that I am privy to information about that. I've only recently gotten here myself and have been seeing to the passing of those who did not make it through the night.
Right, and mess on the beach with the goblin creatures.
Unfortunate business.
Galvin, give me a perception check.
Okay. That would be a 17.
He's 17. You, as your companion is talking to this newcomer, a slight noise catches your ear. In the darkness, you see a little glint of red in one of the corners, followed by a really, really, really faint sound of just like little needles running across the wooden floor.
I'm gonna call out and say, "You see that?" and point with my light.
Haru tries to keep at least one eye on this tiefling while he glances off in the direction that Galvin is indicating.
And I just kind of put my head listening because I didn't see or hear what they were talking about, but I am trying to.
Yeah, your light shines towards the far wall, and it looks like, from this distance, it looks like a larger bulbous spider, but the sound coming from it doesn't sound that. It sounds mechanical as it darts behind a piece of furniture.
Interesting. A construct.
I was going to look at Galvin, then back at the tiefling, then towards the mechanical spider. Do you think that's going to be a threat to us?
Possibly. I'm going to see if there's anything in this book about it.
And as you kind of quizzically look at each other and acknowledge what it was that you just saw, the sound fades, and you no longer hear anything coming from behind the furniture in the far room.
I'm going to suggest we do this research outside of this room. Because we have no idea how many there are.
For sure. As you start to move,
A little bit of lag there.
I was saying, as you were talking amongst yourselves and begin to move, one of the soldiers bursts into the house, obviously searching for somebody. Recognizes Haru, recognizes you as someone that just stands out among the group of adventurers that find themselves here. And he's like, "Oh, I found you. Listen, Captain Oliver has requested your presence at makeshift HQ. If you wouldn't mind, follow me."
Haru's going to walk up, pat the man on the shoulder, steady him, say, "We're going to follow you and see what's going on. Lead the way."
I'm going to beg the book for now.
Okay. All right. The three of you make your way out of the house. Beacon, you find yourself tagging along out of sheer curiosity more than anything else. And within moments, you're standing before Captain Oliver, as he's dubbed himself, looking over a crude map of what they think the island is laid out as.
Question: is the map topographical or just a rough?
Just a rough drawing. There hasn't been any kind of real surveying done. That was part of the duties of the original colonists, but they have yet to find any evidence of that work being done at all. As a matter of fact, a lot of a lot of the documentation of the original colonists, it seems to be missing. And Oliver looks up from the map. Oh, thank you for joining me. As you know, we seem to have a bit of a problem with the local flora and fauna, as you would say.
Hmm.
This stands against any safety that we might mean to achieve with this colony. Obviously, we must put an end to this threat. Now, I can't spare many of troops, so I have no choice but to ask that you might take this task on behalf of the colony.
So you want us to exterminate the goblins? Haru crosses his arms. Is there anything else?
I mean, if you find along the way any semblance of what might have happened to our predecessors here, of course, report back here immediately. But for now, let's establish safety here first, so that we might move forward from there.
Okay. Did you hear or you're aware of the full reports from the beach that night? There were a vast number of these goblins, and although I might be skilled at fighting, such numbers will overwhelm me. We're not going to be able to take these head on, especially if we find where their nesting or breeding grounds are. If we're going to exterminate them, I think it's going to end up being a long process, honestly. And we're going to have to do this smart.
Well, no one expects a quick resolution of the current problem, and extermination altogether isn't really the final goal. Just as with any wild beast, teach them to be scared, and then they will most likely leave us alone. I'm sure you're resourceful enough to accomplish at least that.
Thinking out of character, what if we had something like oil or something flammable we could use? Because I could ignite stuff pretty easily. If we find out where they are, we could burn them out.
I have a feeling that we have little in the way of burnable oil we could spare. Might be able to find something local we could use.
Or gunpowder.
I'm gonna do a general.
We'd scare them away.
Would it be like a knowledge or like survival check to know about ways to trap primitive creatures like these? I'm out of character. I'm thinking like how they catch monkeys by having a hole that's big enough for them to slip their hand into when they're not holding anything, but when they grasp something, it's too small of an opening and they're too stupid to actually let go. So that's what I've been thinking about for the last week or two.
Well, another thing is these guys,
I just want to know
they like using their teeth first.
Yeah, but if they have to use their hands, then they'll probably use their hands.
Not being really familiar with this strange goblinoid creature. Goblins, you know of as a common threat back home, but these are different.
Most goblins are at least sentient. You could at least tell them to stay away and shoot them, ignore you. But these ones are feral, basically. Yeah,
and they don't. I mean, they attack like goblins well enough, but yeah, you've noticed that the sentience isn't quite there, or at least if it was there, they've been driven mad by something. These were quite wild. I don't know what. I mean, once you get out there and assess the situation, we could make some rolls and determine how you'd like to do it from there. But I think we're metaing a little bit prematurely.
A little bit.
I'll say to him, we'll see what we can do.
And he looks a little annoyed at the curtness of this answer. He kind of narrows his eyes at you. And
I'm not going to promise any miracle I can't achieve.
As with everyone else here, you are here for a purpose. And I would expect that purpose achieved.
I'm not exactly sure what your information is on why we were hired, but I know exactly why I'm here. In the meantime, I'm willing to help you with this task.
Very well. See my quartermaster for any supplies you might need. We don't have much to spare until the next shipment gets here, but that's 6 weeks out at a minimum. And with the weather turning in a couple of months, I'm not sure how sparing we can be with much. But take what you need and take your time, and please do be careful.
Very well. Then I guess Haru is going to head out towards the quartermaster.
I'm going to go, and I'm going to ask the guy that's been quizzically following us. You want to come along?
Sure. Anything that can help the plight of the people here and reduce the amount of unnatural death is always a good thing in Kalimvar's eyes.
Oliver would curtly nod to the, not curtly, not quite reverently either, but respectfully nod to the cleric, acknowledging his divine purpose here.
I give a slight bow.
Now, if you will forgive me, I have duties to attend to. I pray for your safe return, and will continue to do so. And with that, you're shown out of his office. The quartermaster is pretty easy to find. He's just nearby. You guys can speak with him about any supplies you might think you need, and then talk amongst yourselves about the best way to head out.
Okay. So what I'm wondering is, in this campaign, we've seen someone use a flintlock pistol.
You
Yes.
want one?
I would like either a flintlock pistol or a blunderbuss, if those exist.
They do. Would you know how to operate one?
Should I make an intelligence check?
Well, you don't have proficiency by default.
Yeah, I know.
Right. I mean, your training really hasn't brought you in the way of firearms too much. You've seen them around, and you're very impressed with their prowess. But to put one in your hands, you're not sure that you could fire one off correctly.
I'd have to practice with it.
Haru's sure he could handle one, but he doesn't know how it's operated, so it's not a big concern for him.
This would, in game terms, both of those weapons would be an exotic weapon, and
Too.
well, I mean, expensive in this kind of an environment is not really a thing. It's more of the needs of the people. You could probably get your hands on a weapon or two, and over a few weeks' time, could probably be shown how to operate it with some level of proficiency. But it wouldn't be right this second. You can.
Yeah, you have to practice. Put the time in.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why I brought that up is because I run out of spell slots.
And he wants multi-class at a guts.
Well, I mean, you did gain a level.
Yeah.
And you did just happen to find yourself a nifty little spell book.
Yep. So it is a. Are we calling it a tome of binding or?
The symbol on it was a binding symbol, just to prevent anybody from being able to read the words. You're pretty sure that you can work your way past that fairly quickly.
But what is the tome of? Is it what I think it is?
It's a spell book that I can. We can assign a good. Second. Where was it?
Yeah. If you want to go over this later, it's fine. But...
Oh, it's like a number of cantrips, number of level 1 spells. We can go over this exactly what spells are in it as we go along. That's been kind of standing out to you as something you want. I'm sure that it could probably find its way into these pages. On top of that, it's only about half full, so there's room for more spells once you figure out.
I can copy onto it later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's good.
Haru was going to ask the quartermaster about his hunting traps.
His hunting traps. What do they say here? We have a bit of small game traps here. For the little vermins, squirrels, possum, the like.
I need something to catch a goblin.
Wouldn't you just kill a goblin?
Well, what I'm thinking is if we can make it so we trap them whenever they come near our territory here and they end up dying, they'll quickly learn to avoid this place.
Okay, give me an intelligence check.
Intelligence check?
Mm-hmm.
All right. That'll be a 19 total.
Okay, yeah, you easily kind of you snatch a piece of paper and a piece of a pencil or a feather quill and easily draw out something that you had in mind that might work. And he looks it over. He's like, not bad. This might work. I tell you what, give me a day or two's time. I might be able to come up with a few of these for you.
All right. I suspect it'll take a little while to get this right because my skill is not in sketching or in design, but it's a prototype, we'll call it.
He caught the gist of what you were going for. He caught on to the idea, and as he said, he'll give him a day or so. He'll be able to work something out that might be practical for the situation.
All right.
Thinking, I've got 2 healing potions. I'm going to buy another healing potion.
He's gotta drink his gold.
I think possibly buy another one.
Well, seeing how a local economy hasn't really been set up yet, you're really just going off of the needs that Captain Oliver has given you rights to. So we'll say, roll me. I get to roll dice too sometimes, damn it. You get. They can spare about 3 3 potions of minor healing.
Okay.
And how much are they?
They're
You have to remind him.
they're being given to you by the grace of the captain,
Okay.
so that you can assure the safety of the colony. That's more important than coin at the moment.
Okay.
As I said, the economy's really not set up here yet. People really haven't figured out exactly what's going on here, much less if they're going to survive. So coin's not really a thing right now. It might be in a few months' time, or most certainly will be in a few months' time. But right now,
I'm going to give one of them to Haru,
Very well.
so he can have that on him
He'll
if he
tuck
needs
it
it.
in his boat.
And I'm going to hand 2 of them to the cleric, just in case.
okay.
If I need these, then we're going to be in true dire straits. So, thank you.
Can't think of anything else I need right
I would like to acquire some extra rations and a rope.
Both are very easily obtained. You get some dried meats and some tack rations that you can easily pack away, and a good coil of rope.
How much rope do I have? Probably 50 feet.
I'm going to pick up 50 feet of rope as well.
If you have an adventurer's kit, you've got 50 feet.
Oh, I have a set of mason tools.
Same.
Adventurers pack.
When you start up and you're going by the default equipment provided to you, most people take the explorer's pack or dungeoneer's pack, and then whatever.
I may have forgotten that stuff when I made my character, but it's fine.
That's what moments like this are for. Now we can say that you all effectively have this pack.
Yep. Explorer's pack. That's what most people go for, unless you know you're going to be in the Underdark or something. Then you do dungeoneers.
The basics of the explorer's pack really will be what you're after through here.
And entertainer's pack if you're a bard. Priest pack if you have a death wish.
Well, I mean,
I resemble that.
I mean, who exactly has fallen in every fight we've gotten into so far?
Because I was trying to act like a bruiser when I wasn't.
And it's still no sight of Laurelin. This is starting to worry you a little bit.
Oh,
Well, I've spent a lot of time wandering around camp, and I can't seem to find her. So at this point, I'll just hope that she didn't wander outside and get herself murdered. And eat.
Okay, so we're gonna shift forward about 3 days. Preparations have been made. You've even gotten a little bit of a map copied from what they have. But it's very crude and not very detailed. So most of the exploration is going to be on you. As you set off through this island. Now it's not a huge island. I mean, what was 5 miles end to end.
Okay.
So it's not a huge area that we're talking about. There are several other islands in the immediate vicinity, easily visible even from here.
Are there 4 other islands? Is this one of the 5 deaths?
I guess part of my preparation's basically been researching the book and checking the house, not getting too close to the corners. But using like detect magic around that house that I found the book in.
Oh, so you spent more time looking
In the Barclay house.
in the Barclay house. Okay. Well, we'll say on the third day, you find yourself snooping around. You just couldn't help yourself. That contraption, for lack of a better word.
I let him know that I was going back in there.
So you went in and searching for this thing. Tracing yourself back to the room that you saw it in, pulling furniture out, you see smaller holes along the baseboards that it could have fit through. So whatever it was is not here, or at least not making itself visible. Searching around, though, you did find a hidden folded up piece of paper within the mattress of the bedroom. Unfolding it seems to be the original charter for the colony itself, signed by 3 representatives of the Freebooters League, as well as the Merchants Guild of Amon Pelor. On that seems to be a list of colonists. Give me a perception check.
Okay. Not that good this time, just a 7.
Okay. What you see is just a list of names.
Okay. Well, I'm going to hand that off to Oliver. Did I get the name right?
Yep.
Yes, Oliver.
Oliver.
Oliver seems fairly unimpressed with it, noting that while there are legalities involving it, there are multiple copies in multiple places with the same information on it. But he will tuck it away for posterity, if nothing else. Now, that spellbook, you have absolutely been able to break its binding. The first spell, like I said, was easily read, is Arcane Mark. There are going to be 8 cantrips in this thing, and 5 level 1 spells and 4 level 2 spells that you would be able to memorize at the beginning of the day. So you can take your pick of any spells that you might want to have in this spell book and run them by me later, and we'll go with that.
Okay.
So if there's anything that you want, go ahead and just include it into this. Like I said, 8 level cantrips, 5 level 1s, 4 level 2s. I don't think that you're able to cast level 2s yet, are you?
No.
Not yet.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think so.
Side note, what I did when my wizard found a spell book with advanced spells, said, you're not quite sure what they are until you spend a significant amount of time actually researching them.
So just to be sure, you said how many level 2s?
4. 4 level 2s.
And
so just
level?
5 level 1s and 8 cantrips.
Okay. And you'll probably link me all of those later.
Yeah, I mean, well, basically you can take your pick of anything.
You're saying I get to choose what's in the book.
Yes,
That's dangerous.
it is, but I live dangerously. So at the end of the third day, all preparations are made. Morning shines again on the colony, and the 3 of you are set to start your journey again. No Laurelin. It's been days since you've seen her, and you're wondering where she might have wandered off to, because she is not in the camp.
Out of character. She shapeshifted into a seal. Okay. But they have some traps for goblins.
Yeah, he's set you up with several boxes, small in size, with a little piece of shiny metal that kind of dangles in the center of it. Would most likely catch the eye of any dumb goblin that might come by it. The trick is going to be securing it where they don't run off.
So basically roping it or chaining it down to some tree.
Something.
Okay. Well, what I was kind of thinking out of character was in the equipment list of the player's handbook, there's basically a steel bear trap. It goes snap when you step on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it will slowly kill them every time they fail to escape from it. Like they take some damage from the initial snap, and then every round they try to escape and fail, they take 1 point of damage. So it'll actually kill them, not just.
Well, that's really the genius of this thing. As he shows you with a stick on one of them, as the stick reaches in and jostles the shiny bit of metal, a jaw sets into place, trapping the hand.
Okay.
So,
stick.
Stick in this instance, yes.
Okay.
Like
they will do. I suppose for now we'll use rope, unless you have some chain you could spare.
That's how I make chain we don't have.
Very well. We'll make do with rope, although they might try gnawing through that. So I guess, how many traps did he make?
He got you 5.
5 of them. All right. Her's gonna take an extra 50 feet of rope. He's got a short sword for utility knife, I guess. And then he's gonna coil the rope around, kind of grab 2 to 3 of these things and make his entourage hold 1 apiece.
Entourage.
Yeah. We're gonna go goblin trapping. And then we're going to set off, yes, into the wilderness.
That you are.
By the way, during the course of these 3 days, Haruzak is going to officially introduce himself to the tiefling just so he gets his name. Nothing else. So he knows who to curse.
My name is Beacon.
Okay. All right.
Excellent. And from the colony itself, outside of the walls, as I had said before, there are several fields where they had attempted to grow some crops. All those have been long dead. You see some of the colonists out there digging through the dirt, trying to reset the soil, so to speak, and maybe try again, especially with the rains coming. More are going through the abandoned tents that were knocked down, setting those up, setting up temporary shelters until more housing can be built for the rest of the colonists. Up to the northwest, you see a beaten path where they had started cutting lumber from the forest immediately past the colony itself. Also, this is where you think the goblins might have rushed from, is this direction. So that's the direction you head off to. Now, setting off, you find yourself, let's see here, out here. you find yourself going into a forested area that gets a little higher and higher as you go towards the center of the island. Within a couple of hours time, you find yourselves meeting a rocky face at the base of the mountain itself. The path has cut out altogether. There is no more path. You find yourselves pushing your way past the brush, the wildlife making noises all around you. I need all three of you to make survival checks for me.
Okay.
A natural 20.
I got a 19 total.
I got 14.
Okay. Yeah, all three of you are making your way through here fairly easily. It's not as rough as it could have been. Coming through and breaking through the tree line, you find yourselves on top of a small hill, where you see primitive buildings. Is not really the word that I'm looking for.
Nest.
Yeah, I mean, just
Bird nest or something.
Yeah, just wood wildly set
like
together. Yeah, set up near one of the cliff faces, set up off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
This would be probably 400 yards away from you.
Okay. So what I'd like to do then, we're on top of a hill, and we're like there's not so much trees around us.
Yeah, I mean there's still trees, but it's not as heavily forested. And
okay.
the top of the hill itself is almost exposed.
All right. What I'd like to do is take a scan around, since we're carrying these traps with us.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to take a scan around and find a section of forest between that primitive housing, as it were,
mm-hmm.
and the way we came, where the village is. I want to find a place that's a mature forest. Tall trees, not a lot of undergrowth.
Okay. Most of the island that you can see from here is forested and untouched.
So I'm just saying, not a lot of like shrubs and stuff, so we could place the traps and they'd be pretty visible.
Okay. You see towards the northwest, you see a small river winding its way from the central mountain towards the sea. What you know of goblins is they're gonna come down and fish.
Okay.
As they this seems to be one of their staples of their diet. So you have it in your head that it maybe be a good idea to maybe work your way down towards the river.
As long as we encounter all of them there.
Carefully.
Carefully. And like make sure there's not a whole bunch everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, right now you don't really see any of them. You hear movement. You hear not only wildlife, but you hear the screams that you had heard on the night of the attack. You know they're out and about. I don't think you're going to hear like a horde of them.
Ascertain which direction they're mostly
towards the mountain, towards the cliff face.
All right, so we're going to have like a nice safety margin there, kind of skirt around it on our way to the river then.
Okay.
But I'm also going to run this plan by these two and say, hey, thinking if we set it down by the river when the goblins are fishing, they'll see the traps. What do you think?
My plan is you say that their nests are basically a bunch of dry wood. I'm thinking about burning the entire area down. And that way they'll have to move somewhere else.
Destroy their home. It might work, although...
What about the surrounding plant life?
Yes, surrounding the forest, you might burn down more of the island than you intend. I think that's a good idea, but we're going to have to prep this place to make sure that the fire is contained.
Well, one of the spells in this book is basically something that lets me extinguish flame.
Yes, but can you extinguish this entire forest if it's on fire?
Maybe.
I suspect you might be able to put out the fire with your magic at a point, but by the time you circle around and put out the rest of the forest fire, it will already have caught on the first place you extinguish. That's what I'm worried about. It's a good idea, but we need to get some hard work in here to prep this. Like if we cut down the trees and make it so
Richard, come get your food.
once the fire burns, and we could do a controlled burn first. Although we know the goblins are not necessarily afraid of fire. They would dive into the bonfires before.
Just so I'm following this plan, the idea that you want to remain hidden from these guys entails you clear cutting a part of the forest?
No. That's not it at all. The idea that we remain hidden from these guys includes skirting around the mountain to the river. The plan for potentially burning down their homes includes clear cutting part of the forest and then burning it controlled and then setting their half the island on fire, basically.
What could go wrong?
Everything.
Absolutely everything.
First, the lumberjacks are going to get mauled by all the goblins. So we kill the goblins that attack them. So then their numbers are so reduced. And then we burn down half the island, which then fails and spreads to all of it. So we end up with no trees.
No trees.
Yep. That's what's going to happen.
But then the goblins can't hide from us.
Yeah.
This is true.
But what are they going to eat and what are they going to live? It'll be us or them at that point.
Looking around, like this area that we saw the nests in, like, what is the terrain like, and how many trees are in the area?
It's a pretty heavily forested area. Now the landscape itself, the island is dominated in the central part by a larger mountain, several hundred feet into the air. To the western part of the island is a much smaller elevated area, just as rocky, but not quite as high. Forest covers almost every other part of the island. Several rivers coming from the central mountain itself, flowing in different directions to the sea. From here, you can see at least two rivers, one flowing to the southwest and one flowing more to the direct west. You're almost certain that it has a lake source somewhere beyond the mountain that you can't see from this angle. The elevated area to the west looks as if it has more structures along the rising area there. You can't really tell from this distance, but judging by what you see here, it may be more of the same. There might be more monkey goblins that way, or something else altogether. You really can't tell from this distance.
All right. Well, we're going to head down to the river area. That seems to be where you're leading us.
I lead you nowhere, sir.
Well, that's where they're going to be. I want to make it so they still can fish at the river, though. But if they try to like leave the river and go towards our encampment, that's where they're going to start encountering the traps. Okay, so now we know where they are. We know more or less where we are. Somewhere between their place and ours, their space and ours. We're going to set the traps up.
Okay. Are you going to do this in daylight hours? You're going to wait until night?
Definitely daylight hours.
They seem to scavenge at night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the river itself, it's not that far across, but the water is moving swiftly. And to your surprise, it's not running from around the mountain. It's running from the base of the mountain, from some sort of water source within the rock itself. As you start to set up where you think these
just what I like to do. I'm gonna set these up. I'm gonna ask these two to keep their eyes out, like open for any hostiles. And then I'm going to take my time, get a good nod on each of these things, and kind of space them out.
Okay. I will require a survival check from you and perception checks from my other two.
Okay.
15.
11.
I got an 11 for my survival.
11 on your survival.
Yeah,
and
so probably not the best knot.
most likely not. I'm sorry. What was that on the perceptions?
11 for me.
11 for you.
And 15 for me.
15 for you. Okay. Galvin, you hear movement beyond the brush. Little chirps and twitters. You know that at least some of them are close by, as well as movement within the water. Now this could just be some of the fish that you yourself see swimming through, trying to force their way upstream. With Haru setting up his traps, what would you like to do from here?
I'm going to inform them that there's movement coming our way, and we should probably get into cover.
Well, yeah, Haru's going to, I guess, stop working on the trap that he's got, set down any more that he's carrying, and stand up to look in the direction that Galvin is indicating.
Okay. Galvin, you hear the movement, and it seems to be itself moving more in a manner to come up from downstream from the river. It's moving towards the river, away from you, but further down. As you all take notice of this, more and more movement comes, and you realize that there's more than a few moving through the underbrush here, and they seem to know you're here.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay, can we get an estimate on how many there are? Are we talking more than a few is like 7, or more than a few is like 37?
Enough to be a threat, a real threat. You shouldn't take this lightly. There's no way to judge the numbers. I mean, it could be 9, it could be 20, but there's a lot of them.
Okay. How many traps did I set up?
You set up 4 of them.
4 of them?
Mm-hmm.
So the last one? Well,
the last one.
So I set them up. I tied them to a tree or something using sections of the rope. I'm going to, I guess, grab the last one with my free hand. I like pull it free, whatever half form knot I had, and begin walking like away from where the goblins are, but I'm like keeping my ears on it, and I'm glancing occasionally. And I'm going to indicate these guys, we're going to fall back.
Okay.
The problem being with falling back is the only way away from this movement is the river itself.
Which is swift flowing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. One moment. Look up ability scores here. This is something
So they're coming from the direction of camp, not necessarily the nest.
How much do you guys weigh?
Oh, 165. That's my character.
Yeah.
170.
Out of character really quick. Question about cantrips. Do I have to prepare them? Or no.
Nope.
Okay, so I got a lot of cantrips now.
I don't. Someone could check me on that, but I don't believe you have to prepare cantrips.
You don't. You just know them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who needs spell slots?
Later.
Well,
So I can only carry one of you guys. If we were to climb up a tree or something. But they're monkeys, so it probably won't.
okay, so across the river is the nests, and behind us is the forest where they're coming from.
No, the nests would be up the cliff face, more to your northeast,
Okay.
with the woods that you came from to your east, and the river flowing more southwest. So they're coming and towards you with your back towards the river, if that makes sense.
Okay. How many? Yeah.
Yeah, we don't
How
know
far
how
away
many.
woods are we, or is the woods like right on the bank?
The woods come right up to the river. It doesn't open up at all.
Either of you two good at swimming?
I'm going to say I can swim.
If I must.
Almost on cue with if I must. A spear shoots out from the trees and lands in the dirt just at your feet. Screams and hollers now surround you.
Okay. How far away is the river from us?
You're right on it.
Right on it?
Mhm.
All right. I'm going to grab Beacon and dive into the river.
Keep in mind, I do have scale mail on, so I'm going to be a bit weighted.
Yes, I'm grabbing Beacon and I'm swimming across the river. Like throwing him on my back, basically.
How
Okay.
wide is the river?
It's probably less than 20 feet across.
Okay. I'm going to I'm carrying a book.
It's a magic book.
Yeah, it should be fine, right?
Throw it in your knapsack and hold it over your head and like tread water if you have to.
I'm going
You
to,
don't have a cantrip for that?
You could probably prestidigitation dry them and hope the ink doesn't smudge.
Yeah, it should be fine. I'm
One would
going
hope.
to.
It's okay. It's not like spears are being thrown at you.
Yeah, there's one at least. I'm going to jump into the water.
Yeah. So I'm gonna assume it's an athletics check because I got to like carry this. Caleb.
Yeah, yeah. I'll allow you a athletics check, and the two others I'm going to need dexterity saves.
So that's a 20, not natural, for swimming across the river while holding this guy.
An 11.
I rolled a 14. I got +3, so it's going to be 17.
17. Okay. Beacon, that armor really weighs you down. Even on Haru's back, the swiftness of the water just yanks you right out, and your head immediately goes under the water. It's not as deep as it appears to be. Standing up, if the water was still, wouldn't be much of an effort. It would probably come up to your chest, but the water is very fast moving and sweeps you down downriver, and you are fully submerged as you disappear under the water and are flushed. The other two, you're able to keep your head above water, but the force of the river is also forcing you downstream with not much in the way of being able to fight it.
Okay. Haru is going to take a breath of air, dive under the water, and try to see, just briefly, try to see if he can find Beacon.
Yeah, your reptilian eyes would be able to see this tiefling tumbling over rock and riverbed as he's being swept down.
I'm going to take off towards him and try to catch up to him.
Okay, give me another athletics check.
Okay.
And Nick, give
That's
me
another 20.
All right.
Not natural.
Easily done. In the meantime, Nick, give me another dexterity save.
What, me? Or
No, Nick.
9.
9. Oof. Okay. It's a good thing that he's reaching you. So, Galvin, you're managing to keep yourself above water. You're kind of just going with the flow, kind of like holding your book above water and just letting the water carry you. You've lost sight of Haru as he dove underwater after your new companion here.
Just follow the stream. Hey, it'll carry us farther than they can run after us.
they're probably they're not probably too stupid and like have too much of a self-preservation instinct to jump into the river.
More spears start raining down as you see at least 24 of these things break out of the trees and run to the riverbank, hurling their spears at you, trying to end your life as you're swept down river.
If I may, I'm going to have the book in one hand, and I'm going to cast a. Let's see. What do I want?
That's a lot of cantrips.
Yes, it is. I don't want to burn down the forest right now, so I'm going to use Ring of Frost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's an attack cantrip, like single target. He's going to try blasting one of them.
Yep.
He's returning.
Do you roll or do I roll?
I'm rolling.
Okay, at disadvantage.
Disadvantage.
Because you're trying to fight a river.
That's going to be a 16 to hit, and it's going to be 8 damage.
Okay, yeah, you hurl off a ray of frost. It zips out of your hand towards the bank and hits one of them squarely as this monkey goblin in mid throw just kind of freezes up and falls down, ceases to move, completely dead.
Nice. I'm just going to keep doing that whenever it's my turn.
Haru, you managed to catch up, swimming athletically through the river, and both of your arms grab a hold of the tiefling, and your powerful legs push off of a rock you managed to find your footing on, and bring both of you head above water. Beacon, you gasp for air. You weren't under that long, but it seems like an eternity. The air rips into your lungs, and you are in debt to this dragonborn, as he very likely saved your life.
My hero.
Life debt. That's how we do. We put you in a life or death situation, and when you fail, we save your life.
This river continues on for a little while, as it runs towards the sea. It rounds about a smaller hill where the forest gives way a little bit, and you can see a little bit of rocky beach, not so much sand, just where this section of the island raises sharply from the ocean, more so than the landing site of the colony.
That might be a good spot to hold out. I'm guessing that Haru can hear me. I'm gonna say I suggest we head for that.
Haru's gonna look at this natural formation briefly, judgmentally. It's like, well, any port in a storm, and start pedaling his feet towards it.
Okay, you come up off and drag yourself out of the river along a rocky embankment. There seems to be multiple areas that both on the rocks and in the water kind of just dig itself into the rock itself. Maybe supplying a little bit of shelter if you want to dry off and catch your breath.
Well, the water just kind of runs off my scales. It's a little bit of shaking and fine.
Precipitation.
Can I get some of that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Prestidigitation.
Haru is going to take stock of their relative position and estimate how far of a walk they'd have to make to get back to the main camp.
Give me a survival check.
A what?
Survival.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what I thought you said. Nat 20.
Oh yeah, you easily determine the direction that the colony is. Probably be 2 or 3 hours walk from here. Although you'd have to get higher up to see exactly what kind of landscape you're looking at to get through.
At least there's a hill here, a rocky hill.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really like a hill. It's more like it's just sharply more elevated out of the ocean than a sandy beach would be. It's more like a cliff face. It's maybe 15, 20 feet high.
Are those things still following us?
No, you lost sight of the monkey goblins a while back. You've been floating. You've been floating a good while. Nightfall is not that far.
So we got maybe an hour or two before nightfall and a 3-hour walk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't think staying out here for the night is a good idea.
I
Well,
would agree with that.
we either hoof it back quickly or this rocky outcropping. It's not actually higher. You're saying that it's just a drop off.
Yes. Instead of like a smooth sandy beach gradually coming up from the ocean, it's more of just a flat rock face.
Cliffs. All right.
So, yeah, at first when you described it, I thought it went like this and then up a little bit, but no, it just goes like straight down.
Yeah, the river is kind of like going against the cliff face itself into the ocean, which the cliff just wraps around to a further part of the island. This is more like an arm of the island that reaches out.
So it's kind of okay. I'm trying to image it. It's basically this arm has one way to it from the rest of the land, basically.
I mean, you could cross the river a little ways up where the island itself rises up, where the river itself is flowing from. But as you got closer to the ocean, the land to your east kind of just rolls off as it's getting lower and lower, smoother, while immediately to your west is more of just like a rocky outcropping where the island is probably ancient volcanic activity. Raise it up a little bit higher than the rest. But a bunch of smaller cave-like entrances dot where the tide and the waves have continually pounded this wall throughout the edges. You're pretty sure you could either camp on the east side of the river, where it's dry and mostly smoother, or you could hide from sight within one of the caves.
One of the caves might be a good idea.
For spending a night, as long as it's not infested with something else that's living there. We'll give it a shot.
Find out.
Haru wants to take like a 10-minute break though, because he's been swimming while carrying this tiefling.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't care where we go as long as rivers are not involved.
So I guess Haru's just gonna sit down for a bit and eat part of his ration for the day, probably finishing it off.
Okay. You guys, which side of the river did you climb out of?
The steep side, I guess.
Yeah, the steep side.
Okay. So you kind of just haul yourselves up on a bit of flat rock where you're able to kind of lay down and relax and catch your breath without exerting any real effort at all. Beacon, you're the one that sees the closer cave entrance first, as the other two are discussing how best to spend the night and what would be the wiser course of action.
I'll point it out to them as, how about that entrance? It looks like it might serve its purpose.
And you see, as he points to it, you two see a small entrance into the rock where water is kind of lazily flowing out of it, like the tide has gone down, and what was rushed into the cave is now kind of just what's left of it is working its way out back to the ocean.
Okay.
Haru's gonna go up there to this entrance, scoop up some water, sniff it, and just taste the tiniest bit of it. See if it's salty or not.
Oh, it's absolutely salty. This is ocean water. No doubt about it.
I think this one gets flooded. We need something a little higher. Unless there's a pocket in there we'd be willing to stay in until we get another low tide.
Might be able to freeze the entrance.
You and your magic. It'd take a lot of work to freeze. Wouldn't it? Do you really think you could keep the whole ocean out?
If it's thick enough.
So are you guys are at the entrance, right? You guys have walked over.
Yeah, I walked over it. I'm gonna look up inside of it and see if I can hear or see anything in the fading light.
Yeah, all you hear is just the sound of water gently coming across the rock face, the smell of salt in the air as the breeze seems to be coming from the inside. There might be an opening somewhere else where airflow has come through this. You're not sure how far it goes back. You see far enough into the tunnel where it kind of goes up a bit and then cuts off to the right, and you can't see past that.
Well, there is fresh air, so it probably has another opening. That makes it less suitable as a place to stay for the night, but we could probably use this to get back up to on top of the cliff, if I had to guess.
We're here and it's here, so I think it's good.
All right. Calvin, you get us a little bit of light.
Yep. Light on the end of my staff.
No, thank you, son.
Oh, God.
I know. That hurt, didn't it?
I didn't see that.
Go on. You're all right. I promise.
Shirt on.
So yeah, I'm gonna light the end of my staff. I'm gonna scan the cave as I go in. Do I see where the seawater would be coming from?
Yeah, it's as I said, it kind of goes up, elevated a little bit, maybe 2 or 3 feet, a gentle incline, and as it cuts off to the right, you walk up and around. You see a larger pool of water immediately to your right, where more cave goes further back. All the rock is wet with a little bit of flowing water, but the around the corner is like a larger pool.
Okay, so I guess we go around the corner to the right.
I was just going to gingerly test the pool and make sure it's not deeper than it actually appears before he steps through it.
How do you mean test it? Like,
just if it's a shallow pool, he just stick his foot through until he hits it something, until he hits the bottom. But if it like gives way into a like pit underneath it, he'll obviously want to inform these guys and step around it.
yeah, you kind of like mess your foot around at the edges of the pool itself. It's the rock is a little slippery, but as you step further into it, and maybe 5 feet, it gives way, and you don't know how deep it goes, and you're not really comfortable with finding out, but it does drop off.
Okay, I'm going to let these guys know that this pool here is pretty deep.
Okay, well, I'm going to just.
Is there a section of this tunnel we can walk through around this pool?
Yeah. More of the cave goes up.
I just don't want them to expect they can walk along this pool without falling in.
I mean, it's right by the pool, but it goes around where you could gingerly walk and push your way into the tunnel past the pool itself.
Okay.
That would be a thing.
All right. As long as it doesn't cover up the entire passageway.
No, it doesn't cover the entire passageway.
All right. So, as we proceed past that potential obstacle.
Okay. As you're working your way around, Beacon, your footsteps a little heavier than the rest, being as armored as you are. You wouldn't feel a tentacle come up from the water and grab around your leg until it was too late, and it starts to squeeze and snatch and pull you out, pull you into the water.
Not again.
As you turn around in horror at this unknown assailant, you see the strangest sight you think you've seen in your entirety of existence. This thing looks to be half squid, half goblin, as the tentacles have replaced its legs, and from the waist.
Goblin Island.
Right?
Told you, everything here turns into a goblin.
So yeah, this thing is like goblin from the waist up, except its skin is like a sickly translucent blue. Its eyes are a bulbous white that have no pupils whatsoever. It holds these jagged coral spears in both arms as the tentacles grab you and pull you into the water. I need everybody to roll initiative.
All right.
It's a crackling, and it's been released.
Crackling.
So that's a 21 total.
Okay.
I got a
All right.
7.
None.
All right, Haru, you're going to go first.
Yeah, I kind of expected that. All right, so this thing is pretty much out of the water.
It's in the water, dragging your tiefling friend in.
Well, if it's in the water and the tiefling is in the water, I probably don't want to use lightning breath at this stage.
Probably not a great idea,
Yeah.
unless you just didn't care about your companion's safety.
Well, I saved his life once. Time to save him again. Haru is going to, seeing this goblin squid thing. It looks like it doesn't really have much in the way of vision. So what he's going to do is dive towards it, claws extended, and try to like grab and simultaneously like rip its arms that are holding the spears to make him drop them.
So you're attempting to grapple this thing.
Yeah. I'm going to try to grab its spears and keep them from. I'm going to try to make it drop them. I'll start with one.
Okay.
So, right spear. I just want to make it drop it down into the depths, out of sight.
Okay.
Another high number. So that'll be a total of 19 for my athletics check. Unless you want it to be just straight strength, in which case 17.
Yeah, I don't see how this would be athletics. This would be a straight strength.
Okay, strength. 17.
17. Okay. Yeah, you grab this thing by the arm, and with surprising strength, it holds on to the spear, but you've got this thing grabbed as you You yank harshly on its arm, trying to get the spear out, but it doesn't let go. It just lets out this gurgling scream as the tentacles drag Beacon into the water, where he promptly disappears.
Okay. Bonus action. Flurry of blows. I'm going to try to shred this thing with my offhand. Like I'm grabbing it with one arm. I'm going to try just like claw it. Claw it.
Gotcha.
Swipe down, turn my hand around, and swipe back across.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so that'll be 18, 19 I rolled, so like 23 and 24 to hit.
Easily.
And that will be a total of 13 damage to it. And I'm down 1 key point.
I would like you to describe to us how your claws just eviscerate this thing's arm completely away from its torso.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm basically ripping off the arm that I've holding.
Yeah, that part's done.
Yeah. One swipe comes through, and I notice that my claws are cutting through its leathery skin with surprising ease, and I get through most of its muscular mass, and it doesn't have bones. So since I see I've created an opening, I bring my hand back up and swipe again, this time clearing the cut and tossing this tentacle away.
Okay. Yeah, its arm just flies back. The thing stops moving. Beacon, you feel the tentacles just let go of you. You feel yourself sinking, but you're able to grab onto the wall with one hand. For now, one of them is dead, but another one comes up with its spear in hand and attacks at Haru. That's not even a D20. That's a fucking 12. Okay. Yeah, that's not going to hit you. So yeah, its spear just drives past you and chinks off of the rock wall. But you quickly realize that was just a distracting blow as its tentacle comes up and swipes at your feet. And I need you to take a dexterity save or fall prone.
Okay. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. I wish it was a fighter. I keep getting 19s. So that's a 24 total.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, it's tentacle.
The dice are with me tonight.
It tries to sweep you off your feet, but the tentacles just bounce off of your oak-like legs as you hold your footing. Galvin, we find our way to you.
Okay. I'm going to use Ray of Frost on it.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm going to aim for one of the arms that's holding the spear.
Okay.
That's going to be 17 to hit.
Absolutely.
6 damage.
Oh, yes. And the things seem to be vulnerable versus this kind of arcane attack. The cold sets into it, and you can hear the skin crackle and crack as it ceases to breathe and falls into the water, not moving. Both of you notice bubbles into the water itself. Beacon, we're going to come to you before we end this combat. You find yourself grasping onto this rock wall. You're able to dig your claw in to get a firm grasp, but the weight of your armor is dragging you down. It's your turn.
All right. Let's see. So I'm still under the water, correct?
Yes. Not far, but you're underwater.
Would I be able to use all of my movement to pull myself up?
Absolutely.
All right, I'll do that, and then I want to utter a prayer pointing at the creature, and it needs to make a wisdom save DC 12.
If it was still alive to make a save,
It's already dead.
that would have been very heroic.
Yes.
But the carcass floats like a frozen fish in the water. Its tentacles still kind of writhing like a dead snake.
So mid prayer, I'm just like, oh, good job, guys.
Too bad we have to be quiet. All right. I sort of feel like I have to be quiet now, but Harus licks the blood off his claws, realizes it tastes awful, spits it out, grunts, and I guess offers a hand to Beacon, help haul him out on the water the rest of the way.
I thank him as I get pulled out of the water, and I beseech another prestidigitation from the wizard, as this seems to be a recurring theme.
Snaps his finger and you are dry, sir. All right, so here you stand at the edge of this pool. These creatures are unlike anything. Just like the monkey goblins, this is just bizarre beyond comprehension. And you're not
an island.
Yeah, something is going on. You're not quite sure what it is, but something is up.
I'm going to use detect magic on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Ritual cast it?
Yep. It's going to take
10 minutes.
10 minutes. I want to find out what kind of magic's influencing these things that I can detect it.
Okay. So you guys want to sit still for 10 minutes while he completes this ritual?
Rue's going to borrow your glowing staff, stick it under the water, and kind of like peer down there to see if there's anything else coming up.
The pool itself goes so far down, you would have to let go of the stick to find out exactly how deep it goes.
Let go of my
Briefly
staff.
considers it, but not his staff to throw away
And besides, it's made of wood, most likely.
and float.
Beacon, you would notice a shift in the wind where the air was like coming through towards you on your way in here. Now it seems to be blowing kind of hard into the cave now.
It's going to be flooding soon.
Tide's
Where-
coming in.
Where you would hear a rumble of thunder in the southern skies.
Oh, lovely. We may want to speed this along,
Yeah,
or
you
I'm
just-
going to need some more prestidigitation.
I guess I'll just immediately cast Detect Magic. Use up a spell slot.
I mean, this is while you're doing ritual casting. So, I mean, this is not like an immediate thing. This just he notices as y'all are sitting here and you're casting this ritual that it has indeed changed.
Mm-hmm.
You all hear the thunder. Upon completion of the ritual, there's some definite arcane working at play with these creatures. You're not sure what exactly is going on with it, but this is magical in nature. This is not a natural creature.
If you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see a faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that there's magic, and you learn its school of magic.
So I'm going to guess transmutation.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. This thing was made to be this way. As if you've heard of a higher skilled wizards in the far off reaches that experiment with lower life forms to kind of gain mastery of their school of transmutation, and this reeks of that.
Quite literally.
Yes, quite literally, as Haru has tasted, these things smell very bad. Smell worse on the inside, as it turns out. Again, the wind is picking up. Waves are starting to come into the rock face, as there seems to be a storm blowing in from the south towards the island.
Okay. So we're going to get to higher ground inside this cave.
Yeah, we're gonna head up until at least we find something that looks like it's completely dry and doesn't see much water.
Okay. So coming up around, the water seems to stop. Like there's the rock is still wet, but there's no like gathered water. You come into a passage where three pillars kind of stand along, not really the center, but kind of like half moon into the far end of the chamber. You can't see too well inside. You can't see too high. You can't see very far into it as darkness is really, really thick in here.
Even with the magic light.
The light, yeah, you can see, but you can't see like the ceiling of this place. It goes up. It's just, this opens up into a larger area.
Okay, you said there's pillars. Do they look like they're natural formation, or are they?
Yeah, yeah. It looks like this was carved out by water at some point. This whole area seems as if water has worked its way in and out of this tunnel situation throughout the ages.
That's my impression.
Okay.
He's the stonemason.
I'll use a firebolt towards the ceiling. Get a better mark of how tall this place is.
And that's when we discover there's a whole bunch of half goblin sturges up there.
You cast firebolt, and you see it like a red flare shoots out from you into the chamber above you, where it strikes the rock that wasn't very sturdy, as little bits of gravel start to fall, and you hear like a shift in the rock, like a grinding of stone against stone. Immediately, you realize that something large is about to fall, and I'm going to need dexterity saves from all three of you.
Sorry about that.
If I succeed, can I push any of these guys out of the way?
No, there's not enough time.
I got
Okay.
a 19.
19 non-natural.
17.
Okay, all three of you jump away from where he shot this firebolt straight up into the air, and two large boulders like break loose from the ceiling and smash its way right where you stood. Would have caused massive amounts of damage had you not moved as quickly as you did. Not completely blocking the way that you came, but it would take some effort to try to either maneuver around the rock to go back or try to chisel some of this broken rock away so that you could go back the way you came.
Who's going to look at that? Well, that could have hurt us. Maybe even killed us. Next time, fire up at an angle.
Yep.
With that, you're going to hear a voice in the darkness like, it's going to sound kind of bubbly and female, strangely, but it's going to rasp in the darkness. You're not master. We have dinner. As two more of these things charge out of the darkness, two more of these squid goblins start shooting down the cave towards you, with the voice still standing there. You can kind of see the silhouette of a larger version of this. All of them holding these spears.
Oh, these ones are a little bit more intelligent.
And I need initiative checks from everybody.
20.
21.
18.
Hey.
Well, you guys are rolling really freaking well tonight.
Yeah. Told him this happened every night.
All right, so Haru 21, Galvin 20, Beacon 18, and then Monster Critters all coming at you.
Okay. There's 2 or 3 of them.
There are 2 rushing towards you and 2 more up at the end of the cave.
How far away are they total?
The 2 rushing at you are probably 30 feet from you at this point.
30 feet. What's behind them?
Yeah. What's behind them? More cave and another tunnel entrance in the darkness.
But like the distance between them, my weapon is like 30 feet. So I'm wondering if I close the distance, can I hit most of them?
There's probably 15 or so feet in between them and their leader.
All right. So while they're charging towards me, Haru is going to launch himself forward, and you hear him take a breath as his spines begin to light up along his back and crackle with electricity. And when he gets to about 10 feet from the first ones, he's going to unleash a gout of lightning breath that punches through them and past the other ones. So they have to make a DC 12 dexterity save.
All 4 of them?
However many you want to roll they hit. I'm trying to get them all. If I only get 2 or 3, that's okay.
Okay, the 2 up front absolutely fail.
Okay.
The one behind them fails, but you missed their leader altogether.
Okay. So if they fail, they take a total of 9 lightning damage.
All right. This zaps 3 of them as they scream and shudder. They drop down a little bit, but they're still alive and breathing, where they look at you both in fear, awe, and anger all at once.
Then Haru roars.
You would wait till I take a drink to see that.
Yes, I would.
Excellent. All right.
Okay.
Galvin.
How close are the 2 front ones?
We're 30 feet from you.
30 feet from us, but how far apart are they from each other?
Oh, they're kind of like side by side. They were rushing down together.
So they're close together. The 2 in the back, are they close together?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to target the leader.
Okay.
I'm going to use Ice Knife. Okay. So that's going to be 11 to hit.
It's not going to hit.
Okay. So if it doesn't hit, it still hits the ground near them. Let me read quickly. It says, miss the shards, then explodes. The target and each creature within 5 feet of the point where the ice explodes must succeed a dexterity saving throw or take 2d6 cold damage. And that's 6 damage. They both have to make a roll.
Dexterity save?
Yeah, if they make it, they dodge it.
Okay, the leader dodges it by throwing her underling in the way of this thing. So it takes how much damage?
6.
1d6? 6 total?
I rolled it, yeah, 6.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, between that and the lightning breath, the ice knife shatters and darts this thing with icy shrapnel, and she throws its dead carcass down as she looks your way with a gurgly growl. Beacon.
You get to fight now.
Yay!
I'm sorry. Galvin, did you want to move?
I'm going to stay where I am.
Okay. Beacon, this is your moment of glory, sir.
All right. So I'm going to do the prayer that I was doing before that got interrupted, and one of the two needs to make a DC 12 Wisdom save.
One of them?
Yes.
It's a 19.
Crap. So I'm basically just waving at it.
But you were trying to cast Toll the Dead.
I was. I was trying to kill it with holy dubstep.
Well, it doesn't seem to have any effect as the two in the front charge at the Dragonborn. It's anger leading the way. That's a 8. That's a double 8. Its attacks miss completely against the Dragonborn.
Yeah, Bruce just kind of stands there, gently guiding the tips of the spears away from him with one hand.
Let me check one thing here. There we go. Okay, so the leader throws its underling's corpse to the ground, taking its spear in her hand as she hurls it at Haru for a 15. I don't think that's going to hit.
Nope.
No, it's not a hit.
Just barely a miss.
Just barely. Okay. Yeah, it flies past. You can feel the air as it zips past just underneath your arm. It would have been a straight chest shot if it had hit, but the force of it punches through the rock itself as the spear is embedded into the cave wall. This thing is incredibly strong.
Huh?
It moves forward. And with that, we will.
Out of the way.
go back up to Haru.
So I didn't kill any of them with the lightning breath.
No, like you damn near did.
All right. So the two of them ahead of me are still alive, and they're
Yes,
scared.
they
Witless.
are attacking you.
Okay. Haru is going to close the distance past their guard and slash at one hand at each of them.
Okay.
His claws. So that'll be a 17 to hit,
Yes.
6 damage on one,
Okay.
and then 24 to hit and 6 damage on the other.
Ouch. Okay, are you attacking one or two?
Both of them. He's just kind of walking by, slashes both of them with his claws, and strides past them.
Okay, you other two are starting to be impressed with this monk's prowess as he definitely just waves their spears to the side and walks in between them and just extends both his claws out, slashing both their throats as they gurgle black blood and fall to the ground. Haru now stands facing their leader, who is a massive tentacle coming down the cave as it's just rolling over itself to get to this dragonborn.
I guess what I'm going to do is bonus action, patient defense. It has disadvantage on all attacks against me. That's the last of my key points.
Okay.
Okay.
Galvin.
Okay, I am going to. Who has disadvantage on it?
Yeah.
What is this?
But Haru's going to say, you mentioned you have a master. Mind telling us his name? Or her name? I'm no man to judge.
It hisses at you for daring to speak in his presence.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the distance, and I'm going to use Shocking Grasp on it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so that's going to be a 23 to hit.
Okay.
And it's going to be 3 damage.
Get behind me.
Yep. And then I'm going to get behind him. Well, the thing is that you have advantage on the attack roll. The target is where the target. No. Okay. It can't take
Opportunity attack.
reactions until the start of its next turn.
Right.
So keep behind it.
Mhm.
I'm going to stand right here next to you.
Okay.
Okay.
That's the end of my turn.
It's a brave move. Beacon, we again come to you, sir.
How far away are we, or am I from the leader at this point?
You haven't moved at all, have you?
Not yet.
Okay, so she has made her way to Haru, who moved up 30 feet to attack the other two, where they now stand. So, yeah, they're about 30 feet from you.
Okay, I'd like to move up just a bit. And
Okay.
as I'm doing so, I am going to utter a curse upon the leader, spending my channel divinity. And the next attack that lands, the leader is vulnerable to that attack, so double the damage.
Okay, so if she hits and does damage, she herself gets double that damage back at her?
The next person who hits her Is
The next person, the next person to attack,
Okay.
their weapon has vulnerability.
Okay, so she got double damage.
is that for one attack or all attacks?
All attack damage of that type.
Okay.
So it's just all the attacks. It says the creature has vulnerability to all of that attack's damage and the curse ends. So
Okay.
whenever
Okay,
an
so
ally
that,
hits.
so that one attack. Okay.
Yeah, it might only affect one of my claw strikes. That's what I'm just double checking.
Yeah.
Plug your sword.
What? No. All right.
All right. Where she closes the gap. Twice this waggle finger has attacked her, so she charges at Galvin and attacks with her spear at a 19.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt. Double sure.
I'm not seeing death domain.
Just say how much it is.
Okay. So that is 1d6 plus 1.
Good.
And that's going to be a total of 6.
Disadvantage on next attack, right? Or was it disadvantage on next attack against anybody or against him?
That's right, it did, didn't it? Had a disadvantage? Okay, I will.
I want clarification if it's disadvantage.
Well, would you believe it rolled better? So the 19 still sticks.
Yeah, okay.
And that's total of 6 damage as this spear finds its way into your leg.
Okay.
As a bonus action, several of its tentacles sweep out and try to trip Haru.
Do I get any benefit from, well, patient defense makes it so attacks against me have disadvantage.
Attacks against him, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that was attacks against him. But either way, it worked out. It still would have hit either way. So yeah, this would be a disadvantage. It rolls a 4 on the dice, so that's definitely not going to hit.
Uh-huh.
Its tentacles again sweep at you.
Cartwheel.
You're just like flipping and dancing around.
Uh-huh.
As it's
and I've been stabbed in the leg.
And you've been stabbed in the leg.
Huh.
Now we find our way back up to Haru.
Okay. Haru growls because this thing has hurt someone who's underneath my protection.
And you get behind it.
He wants me to flank it. So Haru is going to. How tall is this thing?
Altogether, it's kind of short. It's shorter than you. Big for a goblin, but it's because the tentacles kind of lift it higher than a goblin would be.
Haru is going to work his way around it. I don't know. What do you think is the best way? Is there like enough passage he can dash around it, or can
I would rule that as you're like dodging its tentacle attacks, trying to trip you, you've kind of like cartwheeled your way into a flanking position.
All right.
So we'll use your movement for that.
All right. And then because of that, I've got an advantage on my attack rolls here.
Okay.
Okay. We'll organize it like that. And no one else has struck it so far?
I've hit it with frogs.
Okay. So with advantage, Probably a good thing. Oh, wait. It goes that way. Yeah. All right. So that's a 20 to hit and a 23 to hit.
It definitely hits.
My damage is not so high this time, though.
But your first attack is
My first attack, even this, odd that. Odd. All right.
And that first attack is also double damage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So first attack does a total of 8. Second attack does a total of 5.
Okay, so 13 total.
8 and 5. Yeah, 13 total.
Okay. Okay. So Haru
Just
expertly
with his
rolls,
claws.
rolls around and lashes out with his claws, slicing into this thing. It's black ichor of blood splatters against the cave wall, but it fights on.
And he's
Galvin,
out. Get back away from this thing.
I'm going to say, who do you work for?
the spear in your leg, and that's what you're saying?
I'll use persuasion. See if that works. Just 8.
Yes.
It considers you food. It's not going to tell you anything.
So that's my action. As my movement, I'm going to stumble backwards.
Now, I believe that would invoke a attack of opportunity.
Until its next turn, it can't do anything.
It had a turn after you.
Uh,
So that does provoke. Unless you were taking stage action.
Galvin, I'm sorry, that does hit you, sir. That's a 15 total.
15. How much damage?
Another 6 towards you.
Great.
It rips its spear from your leg and swipes it across your belly, opening up a large gash. Now you're trying to keep on your feet and hold your intestines in at the same time. You were pretty hurt by my records.
Yeah, I probably should have just hit it.
Or disengage.
Or disengaged. Okay, it's up to you, healer.
Beacon, you see this as this monstrosity has just opened up your human friend here.
All right. So, like any good healer, I'm going to attack. So it needs to do the DC 12 wisdom again.
It fails.
All right. And it takes a whopping 4 damage.
That's
All right.
you rolled the d12, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I've seen better, but you do what you can. It all adds up.
And I have a plan.
I hope. All right. So, what happened because of the wisdom fail? Like, what exactly was that?
That was for the attack. If the wisdom save had succeeded, then nothing would have happened at all.
So, I mean, what did you attack with?
Oh, Toll of the Dead. So basically, her bells booming in its ears.
Necrotic damage.
Ah, oh, okay. I got you. So yeah, I got you.
The holy dubstep.
The holy dubstep
Is it
is.
holy if it's necrotic? I think it's unholy dubstep. Like all dubstep.
Yeah, I was about to say. It's an holy dubstep. All right. She lashes out as a free action to trip Galvin and rolls a 1. So that absolutely fails.
Mhm.
You know what? I'm going to allow that one to give Galvin. He sees an opening as he moves out of the way of the tentacle. Just instinct alone, maybe trying to keep yourself alive. I'm gonna give you a bonus attack.
Okay.
Well, technically, unless you have the Warcaster feat, you can't use a cantrip for a reaction or an act.
But it's a critical fail on its part.
I mean, depends on what you want to roll. Can you use a cantrip, or do you have to smack him with the staff?
Oh no, I'm gonna allow him to cast a spell.
As long as you're okay with it.
I started this with a firebolt. I will end it with firebolt.
Just a reactionary firebolt.
Okay. So that's going to be 23 to hit.
That's absolutely going to hit.
4 damage.
Okay, 4 damage. Okay, so yeah, you step over this thing as it tries to grab you, and its tentacles start to wrap around your legs, and you just, out of instinct, throw firebolt right in and singe the shit out of 2 of these tentacles, burning her and bubbling up with blisters. As she reels back, she screams and makes her real attack at you with a spear attack, and that's going to be a 17 total.
17 total.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For 4 damage.
Ow. I'm still alive, just injured badly.
Could she reach him even though he moved out of his range?
Yeah, she's moved forward to attack him.
Oh, she moved forward. Does that provoke an attack opportunity for me?
She smells blood in the water, so to speak. So the spear jams itself into your shoulder now, Galvin. Blood is oozing from your body at a rapid pace. You see darkness start to come around the edge of your vision. You feel death is not that far from you. With that, Haru, we're going to move back up to you.
All right. I'm going to run up and attack her because she's close distance to Galvin again.
Mm-hmm.
She can. I probably get advantage again, right?
Yes.
All right. Let's do it, Plankin style. Okay. So that's a 19 to hit.
Absolutely.
Okay, 24 to hit.
Absolutely.
All right. 7 plus. That's 12 damage total.
12 damage total. You attack with your claws?
Yep. Just trying to shred her to pieces because she's trying to kill my mage.
Yeah, your claws just like splay her back wide open. Where it just cuts her flesh to ribbons as she herself is now pouring black ichor from her back. It's starting to slime across her tentacles. She looks pretty hurt at this point. As she turns around, realizing her ignorance of the real threat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Galvin.
You turn your back on me.
Yeah.
Do I get advantage?
Yes, you do.
How dare you turn your back on me? Okay, so that's going to be a 21 to hit, 5 damage, firebolt.
All right, yeah, firebolt blasts her and chars her bleeding back, singeing and scabbing and charring her flesh as she screams. You said 5 total?
Yep.
Fine.
Okay. She wails in agony as she drops down, barely even holding on to her breath. Beacon, you see this opportunity that you might be able to finish this, or you might be able to save your friend's life. You choose, sir.
I am going to continue to rock the bells. DC 12 wisdom.
And she fails as the blood is pumping through her body. This wicked sound like echoes and causes her freaking ears to explode with pressure as the damage is enough to fell her, and she falls over quite dead in front of Haru.
Okay. Haru stands over her broken corpse. He's splattered with this inky black ichor. It's a complete mess.
Prejudice.
When things settle, I will expend my cure wounds to get Gavin back up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Check up on his friend. Sees he's looking very, very worse for wear. He's going to make sure there's no more spears stuck in him. And looking concerned, just kind of like fiddle through whatever medical stuff he's got. Looking to patch his friend up just to stop the bleeding.
I burned through 2 of my spells for 14 points of healing.
14. That brings me up to 2 short of full.
The part of the plan that I forgot to mention relied on you kind of dying a little bit. Because when you hit 0 hit points, I can do maximum health on my cure spells. So it'd be like an instant 10 points of damage on
So what you're saying is I should have smacked him.
you. Next time.
Okay, well, I'm near full health, so I'll be fine.
All right. So here you all stand. 4 more of these critters lay dead before you. You see where they came from, and smell a bit of burning wood, maybe a hint of flesh. You're not quite sure.
I'm going to see if, they're not wearing like any clothes or have any like equipment on them aside from the spears, right?
She's wearing a necklace with a leather-bound cord around her neck and this pendant in the shape of it's like a seashell, but more like a starburst. It was kind of fashioned, and it has a ruby red pearl inlaid into the center of it.
Yes, her is going to pick that up, look it over, loop it off of her head, and pass it to the smart guys I brought along. Ask if they've seen anything like that before.
Not I.
I'm guessing knowledge religion. Or it's just a necklace.
I mean, you guys can give me a knowledge religion check if you like.
I rolled a 19.
And I rolled a 6.
Both of you have no idea if this has any kind of significance in any kind of religious connotation. It looks just like an ornate pendant that she might have found pretty.
All right. Well,
Okay.
That's a decent looking ruby.
Okay. I'll use detect magic on it later. For now, we gotta secure a spot to rest, away from these rotting corpses.
Yes, I agree.
So, I guess we continue up the passage then.
Okay. Just a short twist around some more this passage. It opens up to an area that has like a coral chair couch thing in the back of the room. Beside it is a rusted, beat up chest. And on either side of the path is two pools of water that extend further down than you can see at the moment.
I'm going to freeze them over.
Gonna walk up there and spam cast frost bolts until array of frost until they
Getting attacked by the...
At one of the far ends of the cavern, you see at the other side of the pool, one of the pools on your left, you see a fire with a large fish, like speared end to end and being cooked over this fire with two of these things staring at you awkwardly. Yes. They retreat into the water and you don't see them anymore.
Okay.
There's nothing to see here.
Haru is going to go over and inspect how good of a job they're doing with cooking this thing, or are they just charring this fish?
You're going to have to brave the water to get over there.
No, it's on the other side of the pool.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way to walk over.
No.
I'm making a small bridge.
Yeah, I'm not going to walk over the pools.
This isn't Breath of the Wild, sir.
Okay. So, what's in the chest?
You walk over, and it's a large rusted lock on it, just like an old, large lock. Even the keyhole itself has got so much rust that you doubt you could fit any kind of key in there, much less the one that used to go to it.
I'm going to hit it with my quarterstaff.
Okay, give me a strength check.
Okay. 19.
It jostles and cracks a little bit, but holds tight.
Haru's going to just see if he can open it if it's unlocked.
It's not unlocked. This thing is indeed holding it shut.
Okay. Why don't you see if you can bring some more rocks down through the pools that they retreated to?
I'm going to use prestidigitation to clean the lock off.
Prestidigitation? He wants to remove the rust, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So now you have a very old, very clean lock.
With a crack in it.
With a crack in it. Doesn't look like it's going to take much more damage before it would break loose.
Haru's going to look around for a rock.
I'm going to hit it with my staff again. That time I just got a 7.
Yeah, it didn't do anything to it.
Yeah. So Haru's looking for a rock, like good size, meaty, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Pick it up, walk over to the chest, and bash the lock.
Okay, give me a strength check.
16.
Okay, yeah, you hit it and it breaks loose. The loop itself just shatters as it falls down to the ground.
Okay.
Opening the chest, you see her little treasure hoard that she's been collecting. She's obviously murdered some fairly well-to-do people. Inside, you find a really, really nice silvery chain shirt. Beacon, give me a knowledge check.
Knowledge will be a 18.
Okay, yeah, you recognize this as a metal that your people were really familiar with way, way back in the distant past. This is mithril.
Nice.
And it is pretty good defense against most things. This chain shirt that would fit over almost any medium creature. And you could probably find a skilled blacksmith in civilization somewhere that would be able to modify it to fit more proper. Underneath that, you guys would find this ring that would be carved in like a bluish metal, carved out to look like a wave that is constantly going into itself. You're not sure if it's just pretty or if it's anything else. Galvin, you absolutely recognize the wand that sits at the bottom of this thing as a wand of a flaming sphere.
Okay.
And that sits on top of a pile of the purest gold that you think any of you have ever seen anywhere. Minted with a design that you don't really understand. Like you've never seen this design at all. It's like a 7-pointed shuriken starburst. The starburst kind of like leans into itself in like a spinning kind of design in the center of this coin.
Interesting. I'm going to get the necklace back from Galvin, drop it in the chest, shut it again, kind of test the weight to see if I could lift this.
It's heavy, but you feel like you could drag it out of here if you had to.
Okay. Probably want 2 people on it then. But we want to take a break. Are there other entrances into this room?
No, if there is, it would be under the water because there doesn't seem to be any way in or out of this thing.
Behind us, were there any side passages we haven't gone through yet?
That you saw? No.
That we saw. I'm going to look up.
You can see above you just the barest glimmer of the night sky above you in a small hole, but you can feel the wind blowing over it, and some of it finds its way into this cavern, whistling and howling a little bit. You still hear the wind and the thunder every now and then. The storm is either still coming or just passed.
Need to find our way out of here.
Yep.
And how small is that hole up there?
You can't really tell. You would have to find a way to get up there. It's small. Even if you found a way to climb, somehow scale it, and crawl across the ceiling rock, you would guess it would still be pretty small to try to fit through. Much less carry a chest out.
Right.
Could try to make it bigger and use our ropes.
I think we're going to have to backtrack.
Or that.
I mean, the Batman moment would be cool. but that would be a really difficult feat to try to.
Yeah, we've been rolling good, but I am going to guess that our luck is pretty much run out.
If I had levitate, that would help, but I don't.
Are you sure you don't?
Are there loose rocks balanced over the holes that the remaining goblin squid things went through?
The remaining holes.
Yeah, the two.
They went into the water.
Yeah. Are there like rocks in the ceiling above that we could bring down?
I mean, this whole thing is like a cave structure, so I mean,
Maybe. Could you see if magical fire can jostle those up there loose?
Yep, stand clear.
Yeah. We're going to drag the chest away from this hole, like get it close to outside of the room.
Okay.
I'm going to fire at the ceiling, the firebolt.
Over the water.
Over the water.
Okay, yeah, it splatters into the rock. You see the flame just kind of lick the rock as it goes out a little bit. Some pebbles fall and a little bit of loose rock, but nothing of any significance falls down.
All right. Well, I say we just backtrack.
I don't think we really have another option.
Yeah, we backtrack. We drag the chest with us, but we're going to keep our eyes out for any side passages that we may have missed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. You work your way.
We'll go all the way back to the place where the rocks caved in a bit if we have to.
Yes, that's where you find yourselves back at. You see several places where maybe something's going off in the darkness, but every time you see one, it's across a pool of water, and you would have to find your way across it to fully investigate what's going on.
We don't know how many more of these things there are.
Plus, unless there's a way around to drag the chest, we're going to lose it.
Well, did we see a spot that's got a good dead end that we could hold up in?
I mean, where the rocks fell would be as safe, I guess, as any spot here.
Okay, we just have to get rid of those bodies.
Yeah, I mean, there's those stinking things still in here, but you guys don't smell too fresh yourselves at the moment.
Oh, I can fix that.
They do make good examples, though.
Take the corpses and like kind of set them up in a perimeter around us.
Okay.
Like, this is what happens.
And I'll clean the floor where we're going to stay.
Okay. Are you going to set up any kind of like a watch? How long are you planning on staying?
Definitely a watch. Haru is going to stay up for the first, I don't know, we'll say 3 hours, 4 hours. Yeah, I'll say 4 hours.
I can take the second shift, and I've got infravision, so I don't need a light source to be able to see.
Okay. So you guys, for all intents and purposes, stay a night right where you're at.
Yeah.
The one staying awake, are you making any kind of progress with the rock, like trying to move any of it?
No.
Or are you going to worry about that in the morning?
I'm kind of sitting meditating. We're just for 4
Okay.
hours. I'm not going to make noise that disturbs these two.
Okay. Okay, so you all get a little bit of rest, and then come up with a way to tackle this obstacle of the rocks, which after 3 hours or so of chipping away,
how big are the rocks?
they were pretty good size, but they kind of broke up as they fell, so they're not like solid anymore. I mean, you can, with effort, you can move
Yeah,
big chunks of them.
I have a spell that I got from that book.
Shatter?
Nope, it's mold earth.
Mm.
So that I can choose a portion of rock or dirt that you can see within range that fits within a 5-foot cube. You can manipulate it the following ways. So I can target loose earth or rock and instantaneously excavate it, move it along the ground, and deposit it 5 feet away.
Okay.
And was that rest considered a long rest?
So, yep. I
I will
basically the way
restore
this
my health.
the way this shakes out is I stay up for 4 hours. These guys take 2-hour shifts, and then I sleep for an extra 4 hours, where they can just sit around and
Okay.
talk about clerical errors and whatnot.
Gotcha.
Well,
Okay, and we magically move these rocks, and you guys find your way out into a bright, humid midday sun. You can see not that far away the fire smokes of the colony. It wouldn't take too much time to make your way along the beach back to there.
and I guess I'm still dragging the chest along.
Oh, I hope.
All right, so you're pushing. We're dragging it though.
Does it have handles on the side? Or no?
Yes, it did.
It did.
Mike could fashion some kind of harness with the ropes.
Yeah. I say just drag it along. And we have to jostle a bit over the rough terrain and the rocks and stuff. But we'll bring it with us. Okay.
All right. So a little bit of travel, a little bit of effort. You drag this thing across the beach. The sand, this thing digs into the sand a lot of the way, frustrating your efforts, but you make it back. You find yourselves back in front of Aluvar Strauss, who has moved his quarters into the Barclay house.
Okay.
Taking it effectively as his own, seeing how
Okay.
whoever Barclay was is no longer around.
Hmm.
So here we are.
All right. So we drag the chest until we get pretty much to the town, and then I flag down some guards and tell them to get this to Strauss for me.
Okay. And
And while they're like, they can use the card if they want to.
the guards don't look amused at taking orders from adventurers.
I'm an associate member of the Freebooters Guild.
Which you have to remind them. They try arguing with you, but you went out and they make their way to the Barclay house, to the Strauss house,
Yep.
House of Strauss, with the chest, where you all now find yourselves. He has the chest on a table, and it's opened with its contents splayed out, and he is inspecting the gold coins.
As
With-
per our contract, everything that we find is transferred possession to the Freebooters League.
Mm-hmm.
And as their representative, I suppose that means it's temporarily in your custody.
Well, Strauss looking over everything, agrees to let go of the 3 items, but wants to hold on to the gold coins, both for the good of the town and to research it. Nobody understands what this insignia is. Nobody's seen this before ever. Not only that, the purity of the gold is something that's just unheard of. It is beyond anything anybody, even Strauss, has ever seen. And Strauss comes from a merchant family. This is his trade, to know coin, and even he is lost at this. So he wants to investigate and send some of this back to the freebooters. And figure out where to go from there.
If we try to have these coins reminted, we think it would probably turn back into regular gold.
No. It's just very, very, very pure gold.
Yeah.
All right.
Just heavily refined. So yeah, I'm going to tell Oliver. I think that's his name. I keep wanting to double check.
Aluvar Strauss.
Oliver Strauss. I'm going to basically let him know what we found out about where the goblin nests are, and about a new form of goblin.
Yeah.
That lives in the cave near the ocean.
It takes in
Aluvar, not Oliver.
And they're obviously transmutation subjects.
Yeah.
And they have a master. We didn't get any other words out of the leader of these half squid goblin things.
And he looks concerned as you're telling him, as he walks over to the bookshelf and starts thumbing through a few of the tomes, and pulls out a journal-sized book where he lays it down and starts flipping through pages, explaining that this seems to have been one of the journals of Barclay. Reginald Barclay is the name of the man who ran this. And he points out several passages where some of the fishermen were attacked by these things. One man was even killed as he was dragged into the depths, and they've kept a lookout for these things ever since. They've been a constant thorn in the side of anybody seeking the ocean's bounty as far as food and supplies go.
Did that happen while we were gone, or the original colony?
The original colony.
Okay.
This was from before.
That makes sense.
Oh, I'm also going to tell Oliver to keep one eye open because there are constructs running around this house.
Where he says, we're well aware of this new threat, where he throws down this metallic thing, where it looks like a brass sphere with a ruby-like lens as some sort of eye, and 8 mechanical legs coming out of it. It seems we're being watched. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Fun times.
Yeah. Little combat oriented. I don't know if I apologize for that, but it was fun.
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah.
Okay.
I probably should have mentioned that before we left the town.
So, the 3 items you left us. One is a bit of mithril armor, which says, "Give this to the Death Cleric," written on it. Ooh. Right?
Yes.
One is the wand. I forget what. Oh, well, like. Like
Uh,
flaming sphere.
flaming sphere.
And the last one's
A ring. And this, the ring, is going to be. I haven't got a name for it, but it's going to allow you to breathe underwater and to move effortlessly underwater. So no like athletics checks to swim. You can move.
Fancy. Maybe I need that.
maybe you need it with your armor.
Yeah, it'll allow you to stay underwater and to move effortlessly around.
Any of these require attunement?
No.
All right. Well, Haru looks at the ring, kind of sizes it up to his finger. Now, if I have to punch, that'd make my hit a little bit uneven. Like, he's willing to pass it on to either of you two if you want it.
What's it do?
It's a ring.
Just a ring?
Yeah, it's a ring that gives you water breathing and unrestricted movement underwater. It's good. But
Give it to the one that keeps almost drowned.
yeah, give it to Haru would wear it, but he doesn't want things on his hands.
Maybe Laurelyn would find it pretty.
Maybe.
So that was what I'm calling the aftermath of the goblin attack. We got some strange happenings going on. We have a mysterious master. We have goblins being molded into various life forms and harassing anybody that shows up.
Various life forms being molded into goblins.
That could very well be a thing. And still no word or no clue of what happened to the people prior to this.
I told
apparently,
they got turned into goblins.
and apparently some kind of a haunting within the colony itself. So yeah, I'd like to thank anybody that might have popped in and viewed along our little side trek tonight. Again, I'm Jason with Smith Sports Gaming. I'm joined by some pretty great players. I got Nick joining us for the first time tonight, and I've got Tom and Sam back as always with our resident monk and wizard. I had fun, and I hope everybody did too. I thank you all. Thank you all for joining us, and we will catch you next time. Thanks a lot.